Hi everyone, my name is Rochelle. I've got a short video which Alan's going to try and almost found quite quickly. I thought it might take a longer. This was a video that we didn't really come across. I was going to say, it was a video that Stuff.co.nz did on our house that we're building out in Beachlands. Surprisingly, I drive past Wester's house every day and I had no idea, so I'm very familiar with the wind turbines and I saw them go from the roof down to the ground and I wondered what happened. And but we're also developing a house in Beachlands. It is going for Living Building Challenge, Passive House, LifeMark, and has a 10 Homestar design rating. And this is just, I'm not going to tell you about the house, it's a quick video just to introduce it, and then I'm going to talk about something else in a second. We didn't really come across rammed earth until quite a far way down the process of our house. We were going to build in brick, and then we went to the Auckland Home Show last year and we quite literally stumbled across a rammed earth building stall and we fell in love, instantaneously fell in love with that material and decided on the spot that we were going to go rammed earth.
So anyone can do rammed earth. If you can bake a cake, you can manufacture and make rammed earth balls. So there's no rocket science to it, it's just following formulas and mixtures and experimenting and playing around. And then the framework is setting up to be able to do the ramming. There's definitely some art to that, and I'm still looking forward to doing the sidewall course over in Vancouver, Salt Spring Island, and learning how the girls do it over there.
My professional work is in sustainability consulting, and I work with Homestar a lot of the time. We do a lot of 6 Homestar work, so when it came to building our own house, it seemed appropriate that we target the Homestar rating and that we try for the highest possible rating, 10 stars.
I guess it's quite artistic and resembles a lot of the comments we made by a few of the ladies. There's a lot made in the cave, and I think a lot of the recipes are like that. And then now I've got to the stage of competed, tested to the right KPA build strength. Now I'm starting to play around with the colours, with probably 30 barrel colours and trying to find some great builds.
The house is going to have quite a few extra design features included in it. Things like triple glazing with thermally broken frames, grey water recycling, photovoltaics that are going to generate all of our own energy on site, higher levels of insulation than a standard home, and special features like electric car charging points. So our house is being developed in Beachlands, as I said. It's got lots of things going on in it. Rooftop gardens being one of them, actually, surprisingly. It was actually, I'm going to diverge for just a second because I'm a bit like that too. We originally, my husband doesn't get much to say on this, I originally wanted to have a gabled roof with integrated photovoltaic cells, Tesla roof kind of thing. And we are doing the Living Building Challenge, and as part of that you have to generate all your own water on site, but not only do you have to generate it, you have to deal with all your own wastewater on site. And when I was literally doing the math on that, I worked out I couldn't have a gabled roof running off into our smallish site and still keep all that water on site. So we ended up having to go from a gabled roof that was going to run off to a green roof, a flat roof, with a green roof on it, so we could capture and hold a lot of the stormwater whilst also still generating enough of our water off the roof into some water tanks that we could survive. Because in Beachlands we don't actually have a potable water supply. Aside from the fact the Living Building Challenge, you need to generate all your own water on site. So one of the little design changes we had to do was gabled roof, flat roof, rooftop garden. Made my husband very happy because right from the start he always wanted to have a 3rd story roof deck because that meant we would get a view of the sea. So small change for Living Building Challenge, but actually resulted in a nice outcome. I don't actually want to talk about the specifics of my house tonight. What I want to talk about is Auckland Council, the super home movement, and power of the people. Bob talked earlier about walking the talk. I subscribe to the New Zealand Herald, and I read a lot of talk from Auckland Council about sustainable cities, how we're going to be the most sustainable city in the country, the goals that they have, climate action plans, all sorts of things. And I see very little walking of this talking going on. So I have been negotiating with Auckland Council for around 8 months now. It started off as reduced development contributions just for my house. The reason I was asking them for that was because I couldn't understand why I was being asked for $25,000, actually $25,346 in development contributions for connection to stormwater, for roads and transport, for reserves, parks, acquisitions, when my house can only be developed as a Living Building Challenge house on an existing site, which already has roads, already has reserves. I pay for my existing infrastructure through my rates. I'm not allowed to connect to stormwater, so why would I be paying for new stormwater, which I don't even have and cannot connect to? So I started the conversation with Auckland Council around the fact that I personally should have no development contributions because I'm not connecting to anything. Why are you charging me? And as I got ignored and more ignored, I actually started to realise this isn't really just about me. This is actually about all of you. All of you who are interested in building super homes. You should all have the same thing. So I have been engaging, I have been nagging, I have been bandying, I have gone to the media, we've been covered again in stuff, we are in the media at the moment. I've got a petition going online to Auckland Council, but any of you who are out of towners from Auckland, I would also encourage you to contact your councils because the same thing should be happening wherever you're from. Super homes, and depends on how you define it. I personally have been advocating to Auckland Council that Living Building Challenge houses should have 0 development contributions. 9 and 10 Homestar should get a 50% reduction, and 7 and 8 Homestar should get a 25% reduction. Recognising that as you go down the levels of those rating tools, obviously Living Building Challenge is pretty much off-grid, you don't connect. But 9 and 10 Homestar can be developed in new subdivisions and therefore would have road and transport costs, new reserve acquisition costs. Ditto for 7 or 8 Homestar. As you go down the levels, you are doing less and therefore you probably don't deserve as much of a reduction. So I've been talking to Auckland Council, and I've got some cards if you're interested, on my website. There are links to the articles that we've got in the media. There is a link to our petition. I'm encouraging everybody to actually stand up and do something because I have been staggered at how few people are actually interested in this. And we have quite a few followers on our Facebook page for our house project, and I possibly rather naively assumed that everyone would sign our petition, everyone would be interested. And approximately 1/3 of the people who follow us on Facebook have signed our petition. And I completely understand that some people may not agree, that they actually don't believe that sustainable houses should have financial incentives from local councils, that they should be encouraged, that they deserve to be encouraged in this manner. And if you don't believe it, don't sign. But please don't be lazy. So if you do actually believe it, could you take 5 minutes, go to the website, sign the petition? I'm actually now asking people to email the mayor. Because you can see in the media recently, and I'm going to use the Rotorua mud example, power of the people. People complained, people didn't like it, council changed their mind. So I've approached Auckland Council, I've asked them, I've been the showcase saying, I'm advocating for financial incentives for sustainable houses. They're not going to listen to just me, because they're not listening to just me. They're kind of listening, but they're not really listening. But if we all say to them, we would like financial incentives for sustainable houses, they may start listening. And if you talk to all your family, you get them all to email your mayor. And not just Auckland Council, actually not Wellington Council because they're already doing it, but Christchurch Council, Auckland Council, I'm not sure what Taupo Council's called, but Taupo Council, Rotorua, they have plenty, Hamilton. If you all email your mayors, if you email your councils and say, we believe that you should be financially incentivising this, then if they actually hear people are interested and that we're supporting it, they may make a difference. And quite frankly, it is not necessarily cheap to build exemplary sustainable houses. There are certainly benefits and operating costs, but sometimes there are large capital costs. And I believe that they should be incentivised through councils to help offset that, particularly when you are reducing the load on the infrastructure that the council has to provide for your house in the future. That was all I wanted to talk about. If you believe and you want to have some links to my website, Facebook page, I've got cards that can direct you to you because they're not up online anywhere. Come see me afterwards. That's all I have to say tonight. And we'll talk about Homestar, but I think everyone's probably.
I have on my to-do list to sign that by. I was actually going to get everyone in the office to sign it at the same time, and that's why I was waiting. So I will get on to that tomorrow. I promise. Watercare.
Watercare.
Did they charge you fees or anything like that, or because I was talking to a developer and you know,
Okay. Small update. I haven't told Watercare about my project, so they don't know we exist.
okay.
Because we're not connecting to the sewer, so they don't even know that we are around because we're not allowed to connect to the sewer. Well, I say small update. Auckland Council did agree to refund recently our stormwater contributions, part of our development contributions. However, I feel, based on the correspondence that I've had with them, that the only reason they've offered to do that is because they realised they weren't actually legally allowed to charge me for it because we're not connecting to their system and they're only allowed to charge you for what you're legally using. So it wasn't necessarily a concession, it was more of a, oops, we actually couldn't do that and we're really sorry, here's your money back. Rather than financial incentives, it was more of a, we could have got ourselves in trouble. So Watercare, same situation. I haven't told them about us because we're not connecting to them as such and using them.
Cool.
Hey, Rochelle, quick question.
Yeah.
What do you know about the details around Wellington City Council, what they're doing? So
Okay.
I think they're doing some good things.
Wellington
They're
is
gonna
doing
like
good things.
contributions.
Wellington City Council has a policy, and I forget what it is exactly around Homestar, but if you're doing a Green Star building, they'll give you 50% reduction in your development contributions. And I get slightly confused with what Auckland Council was proposing, but they have a policy around residential projects. It's not single houses, it's larger developments. I want to say 5 or more, but that may be Auckland Council stuff on my head. But if you're doing a larger development of residential dwellings, you also get a 50% reduction in development contributions if it has I believe it's 6 home star rating or higher. Do you remember?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I was
I,
like,
I
you may not
think
remember.
they also give you a discount on your building consent fee.
I haven't read that in the policy, but the policy was only around development contributions, the clause I was reading anyway.
And a warrant of fitness.
Voluntary fitness, hello! Auckland Council's embarrassing as far as I'm concerned. So yes, please, email the mayor. I've got it. Email the mayor, Penny Holes, and the Chief Sustainability Officer, John Marrow.
Thanks, Rochelle. Is that working? No. Suzanne's going to talk about the new version 4 Homestart rating tool.
Hi everybody, I'm Susan from the New Zealand Green Building Council, and I'm not supposed to be speaking tonight, but Sam Archer, who would have all the answers to those questions, has been temporarily out of action. So I'm standing in. So you'll be very pleased. I can't speak too much about Homestar version 4 because I'm limited to my technical knowledge. Is this working, this microphone? Yeah. But well, I'm really delighted to be here. First of all, I want to say a huge thanks to Bob, Super Home Movements, huge thanks to Alan for hosting us this evening, and I'm a bit overwhelmed as Matthew's here, Matt Cutler-Welch, yeah? You missed the first part, but it's pretty overwhelming to see what's happening now out there. With the Green Building Council, we introduced the Homestar rating tool about 5 years ago, and it took a while to sort of get momentum. What happened, I don't know how many of you know, it was in the proposed Auckland Unitary Plan with an idea that all homes would be built to a minimum of a 6 Homestar, which is where we believe the building code should be the minimum building standard, instead of around 3 or 4 where it is at the moment. And the proposed Unitary Plan was mandatory in the special housing areas. So a lot of people had to confront Homestar who weren't wanting necessarily to have to build more sustainably than they were used to. And there was a lot of antagonism towards that. However, we did find that a number of developers were pleasantly surprised that actually it didn't cost that much more for them to get to 6 Homestar. And I remember meeting a landscaper who was working for one of the larger developers, saying how excited they were because they had to decide which kind of fruit trees to put in the garden, what they were going to put in their veggie patch, and we were sort of saying, yes, this is what it's all about. You know, you're building better living spaces for people to live in. So, unfortunately, or for whatever reason, Homestar was no longer going forward with the Unitary Plan. It was kind of lost that bid. However, having so many large developers having to work with Homestar meant we suddenly had quite a large number of ratings coming across our books, a lot more people that we could communicate with. So we said, okay, obviously there's something there which is blocking these large developers from wanting to do this voluntarily. Let's have a look at the tool, let's talk to them, let's talk to these people who had to engage with it and see how we can improve our systems, processes, the whole tool to make sure that, yes, we are going to make Homestar 6 the new standard of choice across New Zealand. And so we did a lot of consultation last year, and we came up with what we call the Homestar version 4. So a large part of Homestar version 4 is allowing major housing projects to get to a minimum of a 6 Homestar level. And so we've made it a lot quicker for the 6 and 7. Alan was talking about a checklist we have without having to go into complicated energy modelling, whereby if you are building to a certain, according to certain criteria, you're pretty much guaranteed that your design will hit these numbers. I mean, it's still, we've done a lot of testing that the houses that we've put through the new scheme are still hitting exactly the same as the ones that were put through the old scheme. So it's just as robust, it's just less arduous from a paperwork and a process point of view. Would that be correct, Rochelle? Oh no, I'm asking. And we've had good feedback on that. If you're building beyond a 7, we have streamlined some processes, but obviously you're building a much higher quality house. Now you might ask, why would you bother to rate a building? Why would you bother to certify? You might go, well, we build to those standards anyway. The whole point, as Alan mentioned, if you're going to the effort of building a better quality home, then get something to